simplest details. The pattern name is called simplest details. First of all, let me show you the simplest details pattern. Then we will see how to develop that particular simplest details pattern. Just it is a little bit advanced pattern for a simplest. So the best example for simplest details pattern, you just go to the human resource management. There is a course types form is there in the setup itself. In the courses node, there is a setup. There is a course types. Just let me open the course types. See here. This is called simplest details. In this simplest details, mainly we can see there is a filter control, there is a grid control, there is a header part. Okay, here in header we have two columns like course type and description, and these are all tab pages. Details, skills, educational discipline. These are all tab pages. Each tab is having some columns like this. And one more thing, if you observe something, whatever the fields we have in the grid control, like those fields are available in the header part also, like a course type, description. See here, if you select this one, same data is showing here also. Okay, now let's design this form in our Visual Studio by creating simplest details. Okay, I'm creating a simplest details right now. Creating a new item, go to the user interface, select form. The form name I'm giving like a emp table underscore simplest details, and this template in simplest details we have our two types of patterns are there. One is list grid model and a tabular grid model. Okay, this is called a list grid. Okay, this template name is called list grid model. Okay, the name I have given emp table underscore simplest details underscore list grid. Okay, let me add the form to the project. Okay, this form we have added right now, and first of all, as usual, we need to drag the table into the data source. That is common thing. Now let's go to the design. First I'm giving caption property, like I'm giving like all employees. Okay, that caption is your wish, depends upon your form functionality. Just need to provide the caption. Now I'm applying pattern here. Right click, apply pattern. If you come down, there is a template called pattern called simplest and details. We have a list grid. This one I'm applying. Once you apply this pattern, the pattern already selected here, the simplest and details and the list grid. Once you see here in the pattern tab page, okay, like here we have four missing controls are there, like action pane, group control, again group control, and again tab control. There are four controls missing here. Let's create one by one. First, I'm going to creating action pane. Right click, go to the new control. I'm selecting action pane, and the name I'm giving form action pane like this. Action pane I have created. The next control, group. After creating group, just give the name as navigation list group. The name. Create a group control, navigation list. That's it. Okay, and go back to the design and try to create third control called details header. That is also group control. Create a group control and name it as a details header. Details header. And go to the design again and try to create tab control. Right click, go to the new option. If you scroll down, there is a tab control. You can see the tab control name I'm giving form tab, something like. form tab. Okay, now we have completed all the main controls which is required to this particular pattern, and now I'm trying to creating sub patterns. Suppose if you see here, in the second control in the navigation list group, something we have missed. Suppose if you select here system, again suggesting you to create a quick filter control and grid control. Okay, let's create these two controls inside this navigation list. First, try to create quick filter control, quick filter, and name it as a quick filter, something like quick filter. And what is the remaining control? Grid. Okay, let's create a grid control. The grid control name I'm giving form grid, and try to provide the data source property emp table, and give the target control to the quick filter control. That is also very important. Target control I'm giving grid control. Now, as per this design, how many fields are there in the grid? This is grid control. This is grid control here, in left hand side. We have two controls, right? Two fields. Okay, let's drag two columns into the grid. As per the design I'm designing here, like ID and name, I'm dragging into the grid control, so that we have completed this part. We have completed this part, and we are moving to the details header now, and remaining controls, I mean in the navigation list, whatever the required controls we already created right now. So coming to the details header, in details header we need to create, I mean we need to apply some sub pattern here. See, in the pattern option, unspecified option is showing here, so that we need to apply sub pattern here. Right click, apply pattern. It is a fields and field group, only one pattern is there, so you just need to apply this fields and field groups. After applying this pattern, system is not suggesting you to giving any mandatory controls. There are no mandatory controls after applying this pattern. Now again, in this header part, header means this one, header means this one, like course type and description is there, right? This area is header part. So in this header now we need to drag and drop two columns. Whatever the columns we have dragged into the grid, same columns drag and drop into the header part also. That's it. ID and name again. Now we have completed this part, header part. Now coming down, and I'm trying to creating tab pages. These are all tab pages: details, skills, educational discipline. These are all tab pages. Now there are no tab pages in this particular form tab, so let's create a tab page control. Now I'm creating a tab page. The tab page name I'm giving like yes details. Here we have a details, right? So now I'm giving the caption called is details. Go to the caption property, provide the name as is details. In this age details, let me drag and drop age related columns. Age related columns are age and date of birth, right? So let me drag and drop age and date of birth. And if you see here, we need to apply some sub pattern here. Right click, because in this apply pattern option there are multiple patterns are showing, sub patterns are showing. In this sub patterns we need to select fields and field groups, because we have dragged only fields, right? That's what in that particular pattern we are dragging, and we are placing only fields and field groups. That's what I'm selecting, fields and field groups uh, sub pattern. Okay, now again I'm trying to creating one more tab page like skills. Okay, right click, new tab page. The tab page name I'm giving like a contact details. Okay, contact details. Caption also I'm giving contact space details caption, and sub pattern I'm applying fields and field groups again. Okay, contact related fields like a address and phone number are the contact related fields, right? Drag and drop here. Successfully we have designed simplest details list grid template. Now save the changes. Okay, and build the project. Once it is built, I will make this form as a startup object and I'll open it. Make it startup object. Okay, it is turned into the bold color, bold letters, and let me execute the project.
Arjun, while it is executing, from the front end form, is it possible for us to find what is a pattern used in the form?
Not exactly.
Okay, okay. So then I can only experiment. Like if I want somebody shows me a form and ask me to build a similar to that form, then what is a pattern used in that form? I cannot right click the form properties. I cannot check the pattern, right?
Yes, you just need to go to the Visual Studio form
Okay,
properties. Then only you can understand which pattern they have applied.
okay,
I'll
okay.
show you right now.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Now you can see. Now you can see when I select a record here, the record details are showing here. When I select 101, 101 data is showing in right hand side. If I select 102, 102 data is showing. Okay. Suppose if you want to know which pattern it is, suppose if you want to find out a pattern for the form, if you go to the design properties, see here, pattern property, simplest details. You can check in the properties. See here, there is a custom display name and pattern also you can see here.
Arjuna, can we check the same for the course detail, like the way the
Yeah,
uh,
we can do that. We can do that. I'll show you. Right click on the design. Anywhere you can right click. You just need to you just need to find the form name. What is the form name? HCM course type, right? The form name is HCM course type. Please remember, okay? HCM course type. So let's go to the application explorer, user interface, forms, HCM course type form is there. Okay, HCM course type. If you scroll down, form design, style is there, pattern is there. See, pattern, simplest details. Did you understand?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
transparent.
So this is the way you need to find the existing form patterns and other details. Not only patterns, what exactly they have developed, and you can also see in the form details in your Visual Studio, existing form patterns and everything.
But we are not supposed to modify the pattern of existing form.
No.
Once,
You cannot modify the pattern, but you cannot add the controls. You can add the controls. That is possible.
okay,
Once you apply the pattern, if you change the pattern, again we need to satisfy the mandatory controls, right? So that we need to delete the existing controls and we need to add a few more controls. That will make really clumsy. Instead of making like this, better to create a new one. Creating new form is better than modifying the existing pattern, so that we will have an idea what exactly we need to create. Okay, fine. So this is called simplest details list grid type. One more pattern is there, tabular grid. Just a simple difference for list grid and tabular grid, only the pattern. Now I'm creating a new form again, emp table underscore simplest details underscore tabular grid model, tabular grid. Let me drag and drop the table into the data sources, apply the design, apply the caption for the design, like all employees, and let me apply the pattern called simplest details tabular grid. Okay, here this time we have 5 missing controls: action pane, 3 group controls, 1 tab control. Right, let's create one by one. Action pane, and the next control group control, navigation list. Navigation list. Third control, vertical splitter. That is also group control. Vertical splitter. Fourth control, details header. That is also group controls. Details header. Details header. And fifth control, tab control. Tab control. Like form tab, something like form tab. So successfully we have created all the 5 mandatory controls, but we need to satisfy the uh, internal controls of the main control. For example, in the navigation list, we need to create something. That's what it is showing in a warning color, like symbol is showing, like here. If you select here, quick filter control is missing and grid control is missing. Now create a quick filter control. The name I'm giving quick filter. Okay, and grid control is missing. Grid control I'm creating, form grid. Immediately you need to apply the data source property to the grid. Okay, and for filter control also assign the target control to search the data in the grid control itself. Now in this grid, let's drag and drop 2 columns as per the design, 2 or 3 mainly. Okay, we should not drag more than 2 to 3 controls mainly. I'm dragging only 2 controls from the data source. Okay, now it is completed. Okay, no need to do anything for the vertical splitter. This I will show you in the user interface. What will happen if this control is available here? What will happen in the user interface? I'll show you. This control I'll show you in the user interface. Now go to the details header. Okay, first let me apply the sub pattern, fields and field groups. In this details header, let me drag and drop ID and name again. ID and name. And in the form tab page is missing, so that's what I'm creating a tab page, a new tab page. Like similarly is details.
Arjun,
In caption,
yeah, actually, on which tabs we actually need to drop the columns. Actually, you just mentioned that on the detail group we need to drop the column. Apart from this detail group, on which controls exactly we need to drop the actually field columns.
because see the caption which I have given age details. So according to that age related fields only we will drag and drop here. So caption is
But
age details. So I should not drag the phone number, right? Phone number is not related to age, right? So only we need to
yeah,
drag the age related
actually,
age and
actually, my question was that actually where we need to drop the table controls. Like this is basically tab page. On tab page,
Mhm.
we had dropped these two controls. Apart from and the previous controls are basically group controls. So, and have we dropped these controls to group controls also?
Where is the group? I did not understand what exactly you are asking me.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, we are having one details header, and next
That
is
is
the
okay.
yeah, yeah. Here on details header group, we have dropped the field controls, right?
Yes, field controls in the sense
Employee,
data employee ID name.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And apart from this section, we have dropped the controls on the age details under form tab. So my question is actually where actually do we need to drop the controls? Means like about the detail header, we are having vertical splitter and navigation list. These are
Mhm.
also these are also group controls, but we have
Okay.
not but we have not dropped any tabular fields here. So actually, where do we need to drop the controls and where do we need to exclude the controls? This is my questions.
Okay. Understood. Here, there are form in the sense there are different types of sections are there, right? Different sections are there. Navigation list is one area. In that navigation list, filter control and grid control will be resided. Okay. In the vertical splitter in the sense to move the grid and the right side panel, left side panel, to move left side to right side to left side, vertical splitter will be useful. After that, details header will be there. I will show you the form. I'll show you the form in the user interface. I will explain you. Then only you can understand. Okay. Now I have created a age details tab page, and one more tab page I'm creating contact details. Similarly, like previous design, contact details, contact details. Let me apply this sub pattern, fields and field groups. In this contact details, what exactly the contact related fields? Like address and phone number are the contact related fields. Suppose if you have three more, like fax and email also is there, then you can drag and drop fax and email also here. Now everything I have designed. Let me save the changes, build the project.
So Arjun, yeah, hello, yeah. So in grid control, we are giving data source, right? But for some forms,
Yes.
there are multiple data source, and we want to put fields from different data sources into grid control. So can we do
No,
that,
no,
or
that's
is
not possible. No,
oh,
not possible.
so it
In
should
a
be
single
like
grid control,
yeah,
in a single grid control, only we can able to drag and drop from one data source itself.
okay,
Suppose if you have a multiple data sources are there in the form.
yeah,
Okay, suppose you have only one grid control is there in your form, and you need to decide from which data source to which from which data source fields you need to show in the grid control. You need to decide. Only one data source fields we can show, we can drag and drop in one grid itself. We cannot drag multiple fields from multiple data sources. We cannot show in a single grid because we are giving data source property to the grid control, right? We can able to select only one data source name in the grid. So that's what only we can able to drag and drop from one data source itself.
okay.
This kind of
Arjun,
design will show you in the next class itself. I will drag and drop multiple data sources, multiple tables in the data sources, and I will create multiple grids and I will show you the difference.
Okay.
and Arjun, can we create a view instead of creating table at
Yes,
design time?
yeah, that is possible. Sometimes
So
we don't want to give an editable option to the end user only to show the data to the end user. Okay, then that point of time, instead of creating, instead of dragging the table into the data source, you can also drag the view directly.
and
But we need to
and
create a view for the table.
Okay, and in that
Easy.
case, we can pull the fields from multiple tables inside the view and
No,
can
no,
bind that.
no, no,
That is
no.
not possible.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Okay,
No.
okay,
Only one table we can show in the view itself.
okay, okay.
Okay, let me execute this form, tabular grid model, and I will explain you, Jitendra. I will explain you. Just wait for a minute. Like how exactly the design I will collaborating the all the controls. Let me execute. See, you just we just need to use our common sense. That's it. Nothing is there. Here, what exactly the system is suggesting you in the mandatory controls list, we are creating like that only, right? And you need to understand the existing design, and then you need to create your design itself. See here, these two controls are available in navigation list. You can see filter control and grid control. So these two controls are available in navigation list. So in navigation list group, we need to create filter control and grid control. You can see here, filter control and grid control in the navigation list. See here. Okay, in navigation list, quick filter control is there. So in quick filter control, we will not drag any columns, only filter control we will show. In grid controls, we will show obviously columns like fields, so that I will drag and drop some columns into the grid. Now you can see id and name I'm showing here. id and name. Okay, let's come to the splitter part is like this. Suppose you can drag like this, you can shrink like this. This is splitter. There is a 3 dots are showing. Can you observe here? Are you observing 3 dots? When you place your cursor on the 3 dots or above or below, you can see there is a two-way arrow mark is showing. This is called splitter. Okay, this is splitter. Details header. In details header, we have id and name are showing. This is a details header. This area we can call it as a details header. Okay, and coming to the next one, form tab. In form tab, I have created two tab pages. In form tab, I have created two tab pages, age details tab page and a contact details tab page. You can see age details, contact details tab page. In every tab page, I have dragged two columns. In each tab page, I have dragged two columns. Okay, any clarifications required, please ask me. Design related. See, pattern is like this. You should understand the pattern style, then you can sense it, like where exactly I need to drag the controls. Okay, guys, any confusions here? Design related.
Arjun, yeah, you're correct. So based on the common sense, it doesn't make sense for me to pull a field into the filter control because filter control is meant for some other purpose. But just in case, if I try to pull a field into the filter control in the Visual Studio, will it still let me to?
It doesn't take.
Okay. Mm. Got it. And one more question is, we know that for this pattern, five controls are mandatory, suggested by the system. But if we want to skip any one control out of this, but I want to still maintain the same pattern, I know that there is a warning coming at the bottom, but still, can I override the warning and build it and run it? Will it still work?
let let me show you that one also. Okay, here in the patterns and in navigation list, this is mandatory control, right? Quick filter control. Let's delete this, save it. Again, still it is showing like in navigation list, the quick filter control is missing, right? Let me build the project. First, let me save the changes. Let me build the project. Okay, let's rebuild it. Sometimes we need to rebuild the application. Okay, build process completed. And this one, right? In this form only, tabular grid. Okay, let me execute. See, it's look ugly, really. The header part is, I mean, the filter part is missing, right? Still, it is
Yeah.
executed. But what here? Why the system is suggesting it is a default controls in a particular pattern. Suppose if we are missing, suppose if you don't want really filter control is okay, but if you miss the header part, see the beauty of the form is gone, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because
Correct. Correct. Just
the
yeah.
client always keep there in minds the design. The client people always working with the forms, right? So they 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 know what exactly the form look likes. Suppose if you miss anything, they will easily identify, and we are deviating the best practice. We are deviating the natural design. See, whatever you are developing, it meets to the existing form designs. If you are designing absolutely a different pattern, okay, so everybody can understand, okay, this is customized form like that, but we should not make a feel like that to the end users. But anyway, it is working. But if I want to filter something, where I need to filter here the data. So that's what they are suggesting. These are the mandatory controls. Apart from that, you can create your own controls even if you want. Okay, let me create a quick filter control. But the quick filter control should be above the form tab. Okay, and the sequence also very important. The sequence, I mean, you should not place this quick filter control below the form grid. Below the form grid, it should be above the form grid only. And order also very important, related to design. In which order you are designing, in that order only the controls will show in the user interface in the design. Okay, now coming to the next pattern, which I'm going to tell you about, list page. List page is very important pattern that is called master design, master forms. Basically, we will design master forms like employee table, like a customer table, vendor table, like item table. For all these master related tables, we will design list page form that I will show you right now. The list page form look likes. The list page form best example is employee form. Let me open the employee form. This is list page template. list page pattern. But among all the patterns, this is very important. But this is master design. Only in this design, you can see there is a action pane, filter control, grid control. That's it. Only 3 mandatory controls will be there. In simplest details, there are 5 or 4 or 5 mandatory controls will be there. But here, only 3 mandatory controls will be there. One is action pane, second one filter control, third one grid control. That's it. But here, in the right hand side, there are related information is there, right? This is customized. This is customized. If you want, you can create it. These are all, we can call it as a fact boxes. Fact boxes. These fact boxes we will learn in upcoming classes, how to design fact boxes and all in list base, so that you can understand entire design aspects after completing this concept. Okay. Meanwhile, I'll tell you how to design this list page template. Okay, don't get confused. It is a list page template.
So you mean the related information, the fact box are not available in the design pattern itself, in the list?
Yes, it is not a mandatory control. No need to design compulsory. That is based upon your requirement. You can create number of fact boxes like this. This is
Oh.
fact boxes. When you expand it, for example, okay, let me show you what is fact box here.
Like even maybe a sales order form or a purchase order form similar to this.
For example, I have selected a Bill Malone record. So I can see the element history of this particular person. I can see the loans. I can see the skills. Okay, I can see the goals of this person. For example, Rainan. This person having 1 loan, this person having 3 skills, this person having 2 goals. When you select this record, this person having 1 element employment history, there are no loans, there are 1 skill, there are 1 goal, like this, like quick information. These are also tables in the back end. Just we need to pull the data, pull the data, and we will show here. Absolutely,
Okay,
we need to create tables for this all loans, goals, skills, and employment history. There are different tables will be there. From those tables, we will pull the data and we will show here in the form of fact boxes. For that, we need to make some design related aspects. Then only I can show the data here. So that this is called master table. These are all called child tables. So that we should create a relation in between, like employee table and goal table, employee table and skill table, employee table and employment history table, like this. So that relations concept we will see in next class itself. I think I'll show you. Okay,
I
let's
think
make.
Arjun, I think this can be taken as an extender fields. And if we are not willing to modify any change in the existing this control, and if in case the user wants to see some additional records, so I
Yes,
think we can achieve this requirement by this control. Am I right?
for example, when I select a record, I just want to see that particular skills information so that I can see immediately, right?
Right.
Immediately. This is like a quick information. Like see, you're all know about Facebook. When you select your account, other details are showing. Your friends requests and your friends and your posted information, your other details, everything will show in a particular options, right? In the same way, when you select a record, okay, I'm trying to show different details of that particular employee, like your employment history I'm showing, current position I'm showing, current position is like this, and the loans I'm showing, skills I'm showing, goals I'm showing. If you want, you can add something like a salary related information. I'll show you. I'll show here. Just for seeing purpose, that's it. We cannot modify here. We cannot modify here. Only for seeing purpose.
Okay.
For this, they have introduced fact boxes. fact boxes. In 2012 product also we have fact boxes. In 2012 product, in 2012 application. Okay, now coming to the next template. What is that? List page, right? Okay, let me create a list page. I'm trying to add a new item. Go to the user interface section and select a form. emp table underscore list page. Okay, list page. See, this is a list page template, right? When you right click here, the form information is HCM worker. The form name is HCM worker, right? Go to the application explorer. It is HCM worker. HCM worker. Scroll down. See here, HCM worker. This form is available in the personal management model. This form is available in personal management model. Okay, go to the design properties. What is the pattern here? One second. One second. This is not the main form actually. These are the tabs they have given tabs. Okay, let's design the list page pattern so that you can understand here. Okay, first let me drag the table. Okay, now I'm giving the caption property. Caption is very important. Otherwise, all employees. Let me apply the pattern first. List page. Okay. Once you apply, you can see there are 3 mandatory controls are showing: action pane, group control, and grid control. Okay, try to create all the controls first. After that, we will see even inside the controls. Action pane, form action pane. Okay. Now next control, group control. What is the name? Custom filter group. The name they have given custom filter group. Custom filter like this. Custom filter. And next one, grid missing. I'm creating a grid. Okay, like I'm giving form grid or main grid or whatever it is. Data source. Don't forget to give the data source property. For grid, next minute, next second, you need to remember like data source property. Okay. Now apply the sub pattern here. Right click on the custom filter group, apply custom and quick filter sub pattern is there. After applying sub pattern, system is asking you to create quick filter control. So I'm creating a filter control here, new filter control, and the filter control name I'm giving quick filter, and assign the target control property, target control form grid. This name, form grid. Okay, now drag and drop the fields which exactly you want to show in the grid control itself, like ID, name, age, date of birth, address, phone number. I just want to show here. Okay. Okay, design is done. Everything. Okay. Build the project. Okay, let me execute this list page template. Make it as a startup object. execute. Okay, right. This is your list page template. In future, we will create related information like fact boxes that we will design later point of time. So clear everything? Okay. Now coming to the this one, what is the speciality of this form really? The speciality means like the importance. In this form, mainly we can store the master data like employees, customers, vendors, items, like everything, like master data only. And there is a new button right here. When you click on new button, but here the record is creating, but we are unable to type the data. See, we are unable to type the data. So how can I enter the record? Because in list page form, generally what we will do, when you click on new button, one dialog box will open like this. Directly here in the right hand side, one dialog box will open. In that dialog box, we will enter all the fields information like ID, name, age, date of birth, and finally we have a submit button will be there, submit button. When you click on the submit button, all the data will go and sit in the record itself. From here to here, here to here, like this. This we will do in future. Got it? Directly we cannot create a record in the grid control because it is a non-editable mode. The grid will be non-editable mode. Okay, that we will do in future. We need to complete a drop, I mean a dialog related form, and how to attach that form to the new button. That we will see in the user interface. Okay guys,